Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there. Just let me know that it is working. Just want to welcome everybody here. Good morning, everybody. Also, just want to give a shout out to those that are new with us in the program. If you are new, let us know in the chat box so we can welcome you here. Just let us know what state or what country you're from. Also, want to give a shout out to those of you watching this in the recording. Want to say hello to you guys and welcome you to participate in any way that you can. Throughout the webinar, feel free to ask questions in the chat box function, and we'll get to those questions as soon as we can. Before we jump into our instruction today, as always, I need to remind you guys about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys. So let's kind of look at the charts here. So late last night I post, or not late last night. Was it late? No, it was late afternoon yesterday. I posted this Euro pound opportunity. I didn't post an actual um like stop loss or take profit. I just my in my Telegram I said that looks like it's itching for a move higher. I shared the picture from the scanner, just indicating that it was an overall buy signal. Um, really strong weekly shift as far as COT data goes, and the long-term outlook is a buy, so that was good. The only thing that wasn't in line was the sentiment, which is okay. Um, so let me actually explain. Let's actually rewind. Let's do a rewind. Let me kind of explain what I saw last night. Um, yeah, I think that would be good. Let me explain what I saw last night here on the Euro pound. So let's rewind to yesterday. So this is about where the market was when I posted this alert. So what I saw on the Euro pound was, well, one, like I said, the scanner had a buy, but more than that, from a technical point and standpoint, is we had a nice little break of structure here. So we had this really nice resistance zone that a lot of traders were focusing on for a while. Really nice resistance. And then we finally broke through that, right? We had a break of structure here, very clear break of structure. Um, and a couple of things that I liked from this. So after we broke that structure, I went to go check the scanner to see if the scanner was also saying buy, and it was. So that got me even more excited. But outside of that, I was looking at these order blocks and I noticed that there was, I think even on the hourly chart, let's actually do an hourly time frame. I think even on the hourly time frame, yeah, this is what I was looking at last night. So on the hourly chart, we had this order block that was right here, um, right away on the euro pound. So it wasn't like you had to wait for it to dip really far. Um, I felt pretty good about this just coming back and dipping into this area and then taking off, because we had a break of structure, we had the scanner telling us to buy, and then subsequently an hourly time frame order block that looks like it was going to kind of prop the market up right there. So as we let this progress here, you'll see there it is. There's that move from last night. Now we are up into this supply zone. So I actually have a trade on here. I probably should close out. I don't think I put a take profit on, so I should probably get that out. But really cool trade. I'm trying to think what else is needed to discuss here. So, oh yeah, the thought I wanted to make sure I cover is kind of what we said yesterday. So during December, we're gonna need to take lots more trades like this, and fewer trades that are like more passive. So one of the reasons why we have to look for specific opportunities, where there might be a order block lurking and a signal from the scanner that could confirm it, is because the market for the rest of the month is going to be very much this zigzag market. And so there will be plenty of opportunities still. Like, I don't want you to necessarily stop trading. There's um still plenty of money to be made in December. Like, potentially some of the best weeks are still ahead of you before the end of the year. I would have that kind of optimism, look forward to what's possible because it's definitely possible. Um, and you can, if you're struggling with your trading, you can change that around, very quickly. One really solid 1 to 3 or 1 to 5 risk to reward opportunity can really get your jets going. So, and that's what I was going to say is the type of style that's going to work well is this type of thing where, okay, the market kind of tells you, yep, there's a little break. If you can get an order block to kind of give you this impulse, this is exactly what you're going to need. Now, the big question is it going to keep going up or go down? I can't really say. I probably wouldn't look for a move down just because that's against my scanner signal. Scanner's a buy, right? So I'm probably just going to take profits on this and move on to the next trade. Because the opportunity, like you're going to have moves like this. So this is a pretty impulsive candle. Most of the money was made on that one candle right there, that 1 hour candle. So if you were prepping for this move, you caught that candle. But if you are just hoping for the next move to come on the next candle, that's probably not going to happen. So that's what I'm trying to say is the opportunities in December will be like that, where it's just like, okay, you have to seek this out beforehand. And if you get it right, you get it right, and you're gonna do really, really well. Um, so you have to seek it out beforehand is the type of thing. I feel like also a lot of order blocks will do pretty well, like a lot of order block trading because um, there's just not going to be a lot of follow through with a lot of currency pairs. So if the market reaches an order block, it's a good chance that, if there's a break of structure associated with that order block, really good chance that order block is going to succeed, right? So that's the style that we need to focus on. Okay, so that's over. Pretty solid opportunity there from last night. Let's look for some others. Let's also recap and take a look at the pound dollar. This one's coming down as expected. This is a strong sell from the scanner, which I just realized I don't have the scanner pulled up. Let me grab it real quick. Here it is. Let's pull up the scanner and take a closer look. Okay. So where did my pound dollar go? Is it out? I wonder if it left. Did it leave the strong buy, strong sell category? Possibly. Um, oh no, it's just because sentiment's loading. That's why that can happen sometimes. So we'll give that a few minutes and then that should load up. But it is a strong sell right now. It's just not pulling up because the sentiment data is loading up, as you can see there. And subsequently, the overall signal is going to be loading until sentiment comes up. But in the meantime, you can see that the weekly COT shift is pretty darn solid. Very big negative shift on the pound dollar. And the long-term signal is a sell, right? So we have a long-term sell signal and a weekly shift of that's negative. So obviously we're looking for the pound dollar to go down. So far, that's been the case this week. Like I said, I don't know if we're going to get back up to the original or this. We have a nice sell limit up here. It's kind of in a way wishful thinking, but I'm still going to leave it just because who knows if it goes up there, I'd like to still capture that. So I'm going to just there's no hurt in leaving it. I think it's a good trade to just leave on. But like I said at the beginning of the week on Monday, my plan with the pound dollar, and it continues to be this way, is that I'm trying to get this to come down into this area or this area by Friday. It's Wednesday now. We've made some progress. We still need another, it's about a third of the way there. It needs about another 2/3 to get to here. And then it probably needs to go about, um, yeah, it needs to go. Let's see, how far has this gone since Sunday? So since Sunday, we've moved not a lot. It's only moved about 30 pips in our favor. But there's been a lot of zigzag moves, right? So like you've had this move that went against us initially, and then from that move against us to where it is now, if you had caught that, that's 80 pips on the pound dollar. But the pound dollar is due for a big move. It hasn't moved a lot recently. Like this whole week, it's been pretty stagnant. Um, if I had to make a bet, I would say that the latter half of this week will be more active with the pound dollar than the first half. We are due for a little bit of a bigger move. And like I said, all indications still kind of push this to the downside. We are like it's a strong sell on the scanner. Again, I just need to get the sentiment to load up. We've got a strong sell on the scanner to both from the weekly shift and a sell signal as the long-term signal. This is a good trade. This is a really good trade, and I can almost guarantee that retail traders are piling into buys right now on the pound dollar because they're probably thinking that this is a point of interest. They're probably thinking, hey, that's a, you know, market should go up from there, which they're totally wrong. I don't think they're right. This is a descending triangle pattern, which usually lends itself to a move lower. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm as bearish as I was on Monday on the pound dollar. And I'm still hopeful to try to get this market by Friday to here or here. It might be a little bit harder. Again, we are in December, but that is where I believe the banks are trying to take this is to here. We're here. One of these two order blocks down here is, I believe, where we're going with the pound dollar. Um, and we actually had this recent block fill in last night. I don't know if you guys saw this, but when you use the order block detector, we have a new block right here, a new sell block right as the market's coming down. So we've got more institutions piling into sales right here and up here as per usual, and up here. It's just this continuous selling pressure. I don't see why this would go up. If it did, I feel like it'd be very short term. And then it would immediately be followed up by a move lower. Um, so yeah, I'm extremely bearish on this one still. I just want to make sure that that's very clear. I've been saying that since Monday, and I'm still saying that today, Wednesday. Um, if we want to take another entry, like again, we can leave this one up here. It's possible for us to, let me show you another example. Like you could, our R ratio is not as good, but you could technically do something like this and try to go down to here. That's actually a 1 to 3. That's not as bad. Um, could do something like that. Because I do think it's possible that the bottom falls out right here. That's really the next thing we have to do is break this bottom, and then it's off. There's no demand until here or here. And I think if you pull out different time frames, let's actually do a like a 2 hour chart. Let's see what that's saying. Wow, the 2 hours, this area that we identified yesterday, that's where all the order blocks are. Tons of order blocks up there, tons and tons and tons. But where's the demand? Down here. Like that's where the demand is. So no demand nearby, which means again, this is at risk of the bottom falling out on the pound dollar. Okay. So I imagine that if that bottom does indeed fall out, a lot of retail traders are going to blow their accounts and get margin calls, except us, right? We're going to be hopefully taking advantage of that move when that bottom falls out. And I do think it'll be this week still. I do think it will be. So here's a 3 hour chart. So here's the order blocks up here, sell order, all these ones in pink, those are sell blocks by institutions. These ones right here, sell block right here. And again, no demand blocks until down here. So again, at risk of the bottom falling out for sure. Let's try a 4 hour. Okay, 4 hour actually does have some. This is our only challenge, right? So on the 4 hour, they are saying that there is a block here and potentially right in here. Um, so far, this block has been tapped into multiple times on the 4 hour, and the market has not respected this area. So that makes me still think that the downside is still most likely to come, and this is only one time frame. We just went off of like 6 other time frames, and they all have sell blocks. And then on the daily, yeah, no, nothing to really report on the daily. So
Hey traders, it's Steve from the future. I hope you have enjoyed this video so far. If you are getting value out of this video, be sure to hit the like button, click the subscribe button, and share your trading thoughts. I read all the comments, so feel free to ask any questions you have there too. On a side note, I host live trading calls like this one you are watching every day. Some of my biggest trading secrets I share exclusively to just the members in my program. I host these live trading calls every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I also host a basic training webinar every Monday for the newer traders and the regular COT report and sentiment trading webinars every Wednesday night at 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern for the advanced and aspiring traders. All of these calls are recorded and promptly posted on the members' trading calendars at the conclusion of each call in case your schedule does not permit you to come to the live call. All of my members have complete access to the scanner. We call it Steve Scanner. This is an institutional grade trade alert scanner that picks the direction of the week on all 28 major currency pairs and includes trading instruments like gold, silver, NAS 100, US 30. Just in the last 90 days, I have made over 3,000 pips just taking the top trade signals from the scanner at the beginning of the week and then just holding those trade alerts until Friday. If you want access to the scanner, you can start a 14-day free trial with the join link in the description to get started. Lastly, if you really want to be a full-fledged VIP member of my program to get access to things like the basic training course, live signals channel, Steve's scanner, trading calendars, and the one-on-one calls with me throughout the month, you can use code Friend of Steve, that's Friend of Steve, no spaces, at checkout and save $50 on your first month. Again, just click the link in the description below and apply that coupon to become a VIP member, and I look forward to helping you with your inevitable trading success going forward. Now, back to the video.
But this is the focus right here. So here's an hourly again. This is what we're trying to get to, is sell this down to here. However it does it, whether it goes up for a little bit and then comes down or just goes straight down, that's what we're trying to do. So I'm going to come back. We have some other things to look at this morning. We could place another trade here. Um, I've been just kind of desperate to try to find a good way to safely get us into this pound dollar um, with the best RR possible. That's a real challenge. It's funny because you'd think that the hardest part would be knowing which direction the market's going to go. That's not true. We already kind of have a pretty good idea of where this is going to go. The hardest challenge is trying to get your RR perfect. That's the real challenge. Um, I mean, you could just slap a trade on there to sell and you'd probably be fine. But, are you going to really make a lot of money if your RR ratio isn't? Because if you don't have your RR ratio put together, the problem is that you can't you can't put a big lot size on that trade, right? Because anybody can just throw a trade out there and probably get it to work. But you have to use a small contract and you're really not going to make anything significant. So you have to get that RR ratio just right. And one of the which is good, we can do that. The problem is every time you try to bring your stop loss really tight to get your RR ratio just right, what ends up happening is if the market just goes slightly against you and whips you out, that's all it takes to get you out of a good trade, even though you knew which way the market was going to go, right? So that's the real challenge. So for me, I'm looking at a couple of options. I'm saying, okay, well, we'll leave that trade that we already have up here. In fact, I'm just going to move this over. We already have this trade ready to go. The other thought is, okay, could we place another trade just at market type of thing? If we did that and went down to here, that is close to 1 to 3. That's not bad. But if I start moving the stop loss out to give me some more room, just like that, I'm below 1 to 2. And if I come all the way out to here, I'm now at 1 to 1. And a 1 to 1 is not necessarily bad. Um, yeah, it's not necessarily bad, a 1 to 1, but you have to have at least a 50% win rate just to break even with the 1 to 1. Whereas there's so much more forgiveness if you demand a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 or better. because you can afford a lot more losses. Okay, like I said, I'm going to navigate away from here. We're going to come back though. This is really good. That's doing exactly what we had hoped it was going to do. Let me refresh this. Let me see if this sentiment signals are coming up um, on the pound dollar. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to get it. Okay, I got a few more. It looks like the pound dollar is still loading, or where did it go? Oh no, there. Oh, there it is. No, it's good. I just missed. Oh, there it is. It's the third one down. Yeah, so here it is. So here's the pound dollar. Like I said, strong sell. And the reason for the strong sell this week, from a fundamental standpoint, is the COT data on the weekly shift really negative. So that's going to send the pound dollar lower, most likely, which it so far is doing. Uh, Long term is a sell signal. So we're not in crowded market phase. So just keep that in mind. And we're at a 3 out of 5 stars. That's not really big enough to, well, it's not. That's not big enough to be a crowded market phase. So this is just purely all this is an accumulation by the banks. That's all this is saying. So when the long-term signal says sell, it just means that the banks are selling pounds and buying dollars right now. And the weekly shift seems to say that this is one of those weeks where they're really doing that. So that's a good trade. All right, so we can look at some other ones. I want to show you. I actually took a trade last night. I want to show you guys something I did last night, to just show you the types of trades that I'm taking right now, and help you guys kind of do the same thing. I actually took a long position on this CAD franc. The CAD franc has a signal right here on the scanner. It's a strong buy. And why is it a strong buy? We had a weekly shift that it was positive, not a hugely positive shift, but nonetheless, it still was positive. And sentiment is currently a buy signal. So I looked at those two things and I said, okay, great, that's good enough to give us a strong buy for the week. So let's go ahead and look for those signals. So last night I jumped into a long position here on the CAD franc. Um, and let me actually kind of explain. Let me pull up my bigger chart here. Let's talk about why I did this. So I actually went out to a daily chart, and this is what I saw. I saw this daily institutional demand right here. And last night, when I was looking for trades, um, the market was right sitting on that. It was sitting right on that daily institutional demand zone. So I just went straight, got into a long position at market. I didn't even wait, just got in right away. Um, and I had the scanner kind of give me confirmation. So scanner was telling me to buy, and then I had this order block on the higher time frame that had some buys there. And then when I scaled down to the smaller time frames, I actually had some order blocks as well. Let me uh, do a rewind so you can see that. Let's see. I don't know if they're going to pop up here on the hour on the 15. Do they show up on the hourly though? Yeah, right here on the hourly. So this hourly institutional buy block showed up at the same time that the daily chart had that institutional buy block right at that same spot. And again, like I said, I felt really good because the scanner was giving me the green light. The order blocks were giving me the green light. So I felt like, okay, this is a trade I'll take. And then just last night that started to come up. Now it hasn't gone up a ton yet, but that's what I'm looking to do right now is just buy this um, right now. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that trade. That's kind of how I'm looking for trades in December, especially is just kind of um, I'm being very specific about using the scanner and finding order blocks. Okay, so let's look for some more trades. Let's actually go take a look at the USD CAD. That's a trade we still have a pending order sitting on. This is a strong sell for us this week. And Now I'm kicking myself. I didn't sell on that webinar last night. I had my reasons for it, and I'll own it. I'll explain it. But so this is a sell signal for the week. Obviously, last night and over the last 24 hours, this has come down quite a bit, which is exactly what the scanner's saying. I just didn't think that it was going to come down right at this block, because it came up so quickly. This market came up so quickly last night, right here, yesterday, not last night. And I saw that and I said, well, okay, that's not a good sign if you're trying to be a bear. So I remember saying in the webinar yesterday that it's probably not a good time to sell. Um, but if it were to come up to here, it would be a fabulous time to sell. Um, which I still stand by. Like I still think that's a great place to sell. We just never got there. Let me delete some of this stuff. So that was the goal, is for this to come up to here and then come down. And um, so so this is still a really, like I said, it's a definitely a sell signal, especially now that this failed. It's probably burned a lot of buyers. The fact that this came up and failed, it's clearly doing what the scanner suggested this week. And keep in mind, the USD CAD is in crowded market phase right now. What does that mean for those that don't know? So it's 5 out of 5 stars. When you get into crowded market phase, what that means is the banks have a really big long position at the moment. And we know this because the signal is a strong sell. Okay, I've already programmed this to tell you what signal to be looking for. But what this means is the banks were buying for a long time. They had a lot of buys on the USD CAD, and now it's time for them to take profits on that USD CAD. So anytime the USD CAD goes up, they basically just sell it off. And we saw that over the last 24 hours, just went up and then just came right back down. And that's basically what you're trying to do with these crowded market signals. So if you want to actually just filter by crowded market signal, or by the long term, pretty much all the crowded market signals will come to the top, as you can see here. Anything that's 5 out of 5 is a crowded market signal. And so that basically again, that just means that the banks have big trades on those pairs, and now they have to uh, exit. They have to get out of that position. And as they start to exit, it causes the market to reverse. So if they were going up with the USD CAD, now it's going to go down. If they were going up with the Euro Yen, now the Euro Yen is going to go down. Some Euro CADs and so on, right? Um, let's see here. So that's basically what you've got going on. Um, that's basically what you have going on with those signals. So yeah, I think, let me see if I can find a good entry to sell here. I mean, honestly, if it came back up to this area, that'd probably be good to sell again. I'm still leaving the sell that I left yesterday up here. That's still a really great place to sell if and when we can get there. That's the big challenge, is trying to get to that price. That's a really lovely price to sell at. Nice break of structure, tons of order blocks in that area. It's going to be a challenge to get that real estate, but if we can get it, that's the real estate we want. Okay. So I'm going to just leave my bid. I'm just going to leave my bid there and just see if the market offers it to me. All right. But let's look for some other trades. Mohammed says, hey, Steve, does the New Zealand dollar still valid for the buys after this big push? Let's take a look. So on the scanner, um, let's pull up the New Zealand dollar. What does this say? So it's an overall neutral signal. This one's kind of interesting because the long-term signal is a strong buy and it is in crowded market stage, right? But the weekly signal is a strong sell. So you do have a conflict between those two, right? So the weekly signal says to sell, um, and I actually haven't been following this too much. I think it is down this week, isn't it? Let's take a look. Um, with the New Zealand dollar. Let's pull up the start of the week. Where did this start? Okay, so it hasn't done a lot this week. It's been up, it's also been down, it's been up again, and it's basically at the same price it started the week at, the New Zealand dollar. So yeah, we can talk about this for just a moment. So the way I would see this is, yeah, the overall weekly signal is to sell, but it is in crowded market stage, right? And when you look at the crowded market signal, what is that signal? It's a strong buy. So I guess what this is saying, yeah, it's neutral and it makes sense because the market's done nothing basically this whole week with the New Zealand dollar. It's basically at the same price it started with on Sunday. And there's no sentiment signal that ate us as well. It's just pure caught data. So you have the weekly and you have the long term. So I would look at it this way, Mohammed. If you're long on this and you have a small enough position to weather the storm, yeah, I think this is a great strong buy because that's what the banks are trying to close out of shorts right now. They have a really big short position and they're closing that short position. So that's why this is a strong buy signal, right? So if you have the ability to stick around, I think that's not a bad idea to stick around. Um, if you cannot stick around and you do have a big position and you have to stop out, otherwise it's going to hurt your account, you might want to do that because the rest of this week I mean, the weekly signal is a strong sell, right? Um, so that's kind of how I look at it. I haven't done a lot of trading with this. I do have a position in one of my accounts on the New Zealand dollar, and I am buying on that if that gives you any level of confidence. However, the way I'm playing it is that strategy I was telling you guys about last week. It's what I do with that strategy is I look for these opportunities, these long-term opportunities. And then if the trade goes against me, I don't add to the trade. So let's say I started buying like right over here and the market comes down a little bit more. I don't buy again like most retail traders do. I don't just buy as it comes down. What I do is I keep resetting buy stops. So, if this is where the market is right now, um, if this market continues lower, I'll only have one trade losing. Now, if this market comes up, I'll trigger into two buy stops right here, here, and I'll get back to my original order. And as that continues higher, I'll really milk that opportunity if it goes in my favor. But if it does not, I just lose with one position. But the reason why I can get away with that technique is because my position size is already so small. Okay, so I have to have a small position to get away with that. If I have a big position, you can't. You have to follow your RR ratios. You have to stop out. You have to use a stop loss. And it's not a bad way to do that. Some of my most lucrative trades come from very specific stop losses and very specific targets and that style of trading. Uh, I tend to make, like, if I hit one or two of those a day where the trade triggers perfectly and that goes to the target, that's where I can make the most money. But it can also be the most frustrating style of trading depending on what kind of trader you are. Because if you trade that way, and you have a series of losers, it's going to be a big head scratcher and you're going to hate trading because you're going to have all these subsequent losses, but it's all part of the system, right? So anyway, anyway, that's a long answer to what you were saying, but that's how I would approach that. So I do have a position with you on this New Zealand dollar, but I'm not adding to it as it comes down. I only add to it as it moves in our favor. So I have on this other account, I have buy stops, a couple of them throughout here, if this market breaks up and makes another leg higher. However, if we don't make that leg higher and we continue down, I don't add. I just leave it. I don't stop out. I don't add. I don't take profits. I don't stop out. None of that. So that's my plan. So I am working on a long-term trade on the New Zealand dollar, but it's not um and it's something I may hold past this week, or even into a couple of weeks. But I'm not doing any weekly signals with the New Zealand dollar, if that makes sense. So it might have been at a strong buy with the sentiment, but now that the market's gone down a little bit, it's removed that like it's now a neutral signal because of sentiment. Um, so that can happen. Like you can have trades move into, we had that last week, for example. So with the dollar yen and euro yen last week, we had some really good sells. Um, Wednesday night, the dollar yen and euro yen struck it really good. They dropped like a rock. And on Tuesday, we got alerted, or not alerted, but if you were to look at the scanner, I'm by the way, I'm trying to figure out a way to get this so it alerts you guys if there's changes um, with sentiment, because that's the only thing that can change during the week is the sentiment. Um, so largely these are the same signals from the beginning of the week. Um, but it is subject to change depending on how sentiment adjusts. Okay, so if sentiment changes, the signal can change. Um, so so it can work both ways. So what I'm saying is, so if you have the New Zealand dollar, like for example, started with a strong buy at the beginning of the week because sentiment was aiding us in that direction. But if the market goes against that and actually goes down, then sentiment will say, hey, look, this is no longer a signal. And then it will kind of let you know, like, hey, maybe stay off of this one for a little bit, unless your focus is the long-term signal. If your focus is just to take a long-term trade, then I think like, go ahead and by all means stay with it. But if your focus is not long-term and it's just to make a trade for the day or for the week, it's probably not something to stay in. So that's how I would answer that question. But like I said, it can work both ways. So you can have trades fall off of overall strong buy or strong sell, and you can have trades go into strong buy and strong sell as things improve. And that, like I said last week, we took those massive trades on the dollar yen and euro yen, and the scanner told us, Tuesday that that was a thing, right? So that it can go both ways. Um, let's see. Is let's see. Phil says, is silver a sell still valid? Let's take a look. Actually, let's look at the scanner first. So let's talk about what's here on the scanner. So scanner does have a sweep, right? So you've got a good shift, not a strong shift, but it is still a sell shift, negative. The long-term outlook is to sell silver, and currently sentiment is at a strong sell rating. So as far as the scanner goes, that would be a sell. But let's take a look at the price action on silver here. Wow. Yeah, so from the start of the week, this is really come down quite a bit. Yeah, that's down quite a bit from the start of the week. And that's exactly what the scanner was trying to say. Um, Now let's talk about more specifically to your question. So where is this market in relationship here? Where is this market in relationship to price action? Okay. So this is a good moment right here. So this is where the market is, right? Right in this area. Now, if I draw this over here, where is this in relation? Basically no demand. There's no demand right here. Nothing, right? I don't see demand right there. That's just a candlestick, right? So our bets should be that the silver would probably continue lower until when? The next demand zone, probably right there. That's where there's probably some demand. This is not showing up with some demand on at least this indicator. Let's look at some other indicators. Yeah, okay, so right here, they're saying Sonalab does have a little block right there on silver at like $22 and we'll say 37 cents. That's where the next demand is. Let's try a different time frame. Yeah, right there. This is exactly what we were talking about right there. Let's try a 3 hour. Okay, well, the 3 hour actually has a ton of blocks in here, and we're in the middle of one right now. I'm not sure I'm gonna that seems, and it's not even working. So yeah, and the 4 hour doesn't even have it there. 4 hour actually has demand down here instead. And there's a sell block right there recently. And let's look at the daily. Daily doesn't even have demand until down in these loans and these zones anyway. So that's what I'm seeing is that's a 15-minute chart. So I would be cautiously optimistic about a move lower. So I am looking for sells on on silver. We've been looking for sells on silver all week, and we continue to see, and even recently we've got more selling blocks right here. This is another sell block right here on the hourly. Here's another selling block right here on the hourly. So so the way I would look at this, Bill, is yes, that's still my outlook for the rest of the week. However, once you get to this demand right here, I'd probably take it easy on the sells at that point. It's possible we get down to here too by the end of the week, but this is where I'd probably target. This is where I'd put your targets on your sells. Okay. And right now, silver's at $22.60. And if it gets down to basically $22.40, that's where I'd take your profits. So that's anyway, that to answer your question, that's what I see on silver. Okay. Mohammed says, can you take a look at Aussie CAD wanting to get in sells? Okay, yeah, let's totally. This is great, guys. Yeah, put them all in. Put them all in, guys. Where's the entry on this? Well, let's see. So there's a couple of places you could sell on silver. Obviously, the best entry would have been at the start of the week. I mean, it it was pretty much, this is where the week started right here. That would have been nice to have sold at the very beginning. And this was a strong sell from the very beginning of the week. Um, that would have been the best place. Is when we got the new COT data, just gone ahead and sold there. But that doesn't mean you can't still get into trades. So where would you do that? These are the two supply zones that I have available on the 15-minute chart. So there's a couple of ways you can play this. You could either, I'll show you. So here's your two options. A one-to-one would be something like this. You could probably get away with that. That's a one-to-one. So that's just a sell at market, and you'd have a stop right here above these two order blocks. But that's just a one-to-one. So the RR is not as good right now. You could also wait for it to come back up to see if it will retest some of these order blocks, and that gives you a 2-to-1, a 1-to-2. You could also try to get it to come up to here, and then that gives you a much better RR, but I think this is more likely. So I think you could put an entry right here at 22.66 or 22.67, and then put your target down closer to 22.40 or 22.36. And then I'd probably stop out at 22.82. That's probably where I'd stop out if you're gonna take silver. So again, those are your two options. You can just sell at market, but your RR is not going to be very good. It's just 1-to-1 basically. So you risk $100, you make $100. Okay, not a bad trade necessarily. Like you can do that for the rest of the week. Just get a 1-to-1 right there on silver, or you could wait for it to come up to there one last time, see if it can bounce to there, and then try to get it to come down afterwards. And that's a 1-to-2. So that's how I'd place silver for the rest of the week if you want to trade silver. Okay. I'll leave that up in case you have questions about that entry, if that's something you want to get into. But let's go look at Mohammed's Aussie CAD potential sell. And yeah, Phil, I'm going to leave that up. So if you want me to go back to it, I certainly can. Okay, cool. I see what you're talking about. Okay, cool. So I just saw that right off the bat. And then let's look at your. Okay, cool. So this is awesome. So Aussie CAD right now is overall strong sell. Weekly shift is pretty good. It's a negative 7.81. So that's obviously going to give you a sell signal for the week. Sentiment is a strong sell. Okay, that's a good sign. We do not have a long-term signal from the COT data. The large specs don't really have an interest right now in the Aussie CAD. So we don't really get the long-term help, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not going to work. Okay, definitely has the potential to be a good weekly trade. So let's take a look at the Aussie CAD now that we know kind of have a basis there. Okay, so let's talk about this. So here's the start of the week on the Aussie CAD. This is a strong sell for the week. Um, there is the first thing I saw right when I came to this chart was just this massive load of institutional sell blocks here, 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 and here. That's 4 blocks all in this region. So I feel pretty good about that just because of those blocks. And then you also have a weekly shift that indicates that this market's trying to go down this week. I'd say that's pretty good. Now, if I can play devil's advocate just for a moment, we did make a higher low right here that is higher than this low. That's not a great sign. That obviously is going to create an order block down here um, with Sonar Lab. But otherwise, the Lux Algo has multiple cell blocks right through here. I'd say this is good. So this is actually a trade we could take together. I have a couple of places you could do this. Again, how would this trade look? I think this is not a bad one. If you sold right at market, your target could be potentially down to here. That's the next order block on the hourly time frame. Yeah, it's trying to get down to that right there. You could try to go down to there if you sold the Aussie CAD. And that's a 1 to 2 like that. If you put your stop out to there, that's a 1 to 1.62. That's still not too bad. So this is actually not a terrible trade. Now, if we could get this market to come back up to maybe here, that's even better because that's a 1 to 3.7 RR. I just don't know if you're going to get it, is the question, right? I don't know if we're going to get back to that. Um, but it looks like it tapped into whatever this was right here, and it's already on its way down. So maybe if you did a market sell, you do something like this and keep that stop loss a little tighter, then maybe, yeah, you could do something like that. And that's a 1 to 2.75. So you're basically not putting the stop loss all the way out on the last order block. You're just kind of putting it at the recent pivot high right here and assuming that this area holds. It's probably not a bad idea. Um, I like this. Like I said, there's not an institutional interest on this. We do have a nice little downtrending market right here. Um, what else do we have? Yeah, and we haven't tapped into this demand yet or this demand down here. So we could even try to go a little bit further, but I don't know if you're going to get there by Friday is the big thing. I like this trade, Mohammed. I'm actually thinking about just taking this as the group. This is not a bad trade to take. We've got a ton of order blocks up in here, which is good. I use another indicator. Let's choose the smart money. Let's use the smart money. Smart money doesn't have any order blocks up here. Okay, that's good to know. It's just Sonar Lab and Lux Algo. Okay, I'm gonna try for this trade. I think I'm gonna post this opportunity. That's a 1 to 2. I think I'll take the 1 to 2 opportunity. Yeah. On Sonar Lab, we have this block, and then there's this block up here. We have not used this block yet, so part of me thinks, is it going to try to get that block? Because I'd hate that, because if it came up to grab that block, that would just barely stop me out just in time for it to tag that block and then finally go down. So that's what I'm debating right now, by the way. That's why I'm quiet, is I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do that. Because otherwise, everything else looks really good. Tons of blocks all throughout here. Another way to do this, I've done this before. Um, I've also done like a 1 to 1 like this, and then place another entry up here with your 1 to 5 type of thing. So if one of them only wins, at least you caught some of that money, on a 1 to 1. And then if the second one does execute, you can really get a lot out of it. So that's all I'm trying to figure out right now is this market going to go up and tag that other entry? So like I was saying, there's another block right here. So this might be a little bit better is something like this, because whatever happened up in here ultimately caused this move lower that the market hasn't recovered from yet. And so that seems like a good area if you can get that. And we have not tapped into that area yet. So that's my other thought, is like maybe I place that as my sell entry and just wait for the market to come up and tag that and then come down. That's kind of what my thoughts have been. But at the same time, it may not even go up that far. It may just actually come down sooner than that, because you got all these order blocks right in there. So I'm going to do two different things here. So I think we could do two different entries. I think you could do one that's tighter like this. Okay. And you could just take this one at market. And then if you want to do a second entry, the second entry would be up here, up towards these blocks. And actually, I think you could even get away with this. So you're basically taking two different trades is what you could do. Um, that way, if this one loses, you're still ready to take advantage of this, but it's after it comes up to a better price up here type of thing. Okay, so which one do I want to place first? Let's try to go with this one. I think that's fine. We've got a nice little trend line here. If this trend holds, then the idea is that we shouldn't. Well, actually, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. Okay, I'm going to try to do kind of a mix between those two things. I'm going to wait for this to come up a little bit more up into this block. I like this a little bit better because if this market hits that block at the same time that it hits that trend line, there's a better chance that that's going to break down. So I think that's what I'm going to do instead with this trade. Yeah, I like that. That's what I'm going to do. And that actually gives me a 1 to 4, which is really, really good. But again, it's up to you. If you want to sell this now, I think you can sell this now. Like I said, there's a ton of blocks. We've already established that. And most of this is just selling blocks. So I do think you're going to get a move lower. Um, I think that's inevitable is a move lower. I just don't know if it's going to go up first or down immediately. That's the big challenge. So again, it's one thing to know about which way the market's going to go. It's a totally different thing to get your RR ratio just right. That's the big challenge in I feel like in trading is it's not even knowing which way the market's going. It's about getting your risk management just right. Because if you can get consistently those 1 to 4s, 1 to 3s, 1 to 5s, I mean, it just makes your life so much easier. You feel like you have so much more freedom because if you happen to lose a trade, you're not feeling too bad about it because you're like, hey, I made 4 or 5 times this loser on my last trade, so I'm okay. But there's a lot of let's just put it this way. There's a lot of ways you can get into this Aussie CAD. If you want to trade this, there's a lot of ways you can get in here. Okay. There's not just one way to do it. A lot of ways you can sell this. Okay, so I'm gonna have a sell entry at 0.89476, and then we're gonna take our profits at 0.88692, and then we'll stop out at 0.89651. Okay, cool. So we'll let that, I think that's a good trade to have set up. And I like the target a lot. Let me explain the target real quick. I like the target a lot that we have because clearly this market hasn't quite gotten to this demand yet. That's right here. So I have a really strong feeling that the banks are going to try to get there. Um, this is actually a descending triangle, or what do you call it? This is a symmetrical triangle with a slight bearish zest to it, scent to it, whatever you want to call it, because it's preceded by a move to the downside. So you have a move to the downside right here, and then you have this triangle forming. So, and then you got the scanner saying to sell, and then you've got the order blocks that say to sell. So it's a good one. Yeah, nice job, Mohammed, finding this trade. This is good. Um, good setup. But like I said, there's a variety of ways you can get in to sell this. We just picked one of several ways you can get in. So I kind of picked the best of both worlds. We're waiting for it to come up a little bit more. Just we put our bid in there. We want this real estate. If we can get that real estate, we'll take it. And we'll just be a little bit more cautious. Okay, so I think that's about it, guys, for today. Oh, we do have COT report tonight. So if you guys want to come to COT report, we'll talk a little bit more about basically whatever you guys want to talk about is fine. We can talk about the shift in COT data. We can talk about the crowded market indicator, how that works. But basically, just anything caught report will be tonight. If you guys want to come to that, that'll be um, tonight at 9 p.m. And yeah, we can talk about the nightly trades, how to use the scanner to take nightly trades. Absolutely. We can talk about that in that call tonight. All right, guys, we'll have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar.